What is already Pretender here, back with another Honkai Star Rail guide, and today we're with the full in-game guide for the character that just released for the 3.1 first half update, being Tribbie. So in this video I'm going to be taking you over her kin Eidolons, then I'll be taking you over some of the best Lightcone options, followed by that will be best Relic set and Planar Ornaments, and then the Mainstat and Substat recommendations, and at the very end I will be giving you some team ideas to use on her on. That's all I wanted to say before I get into the video. If you guys found this video helpful in any way, shape, or form, dropping a like would be greatly appreciated. If you're new or haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe and turn on the bell icon for future videos like this, along with all other types of Star Rail content that there is. Also be sure to check the description to join the Discord. If you know anyone that may need a Tribbie guide, be sure to also send them this video, and let's get straight into the video. So Tribbie is a quantum character following the path of Harmony. Her basic attack deals quantum damage equal to 30% of Tribbie's max HP to one designated enemy, deals quantum damage equal to 15% of Tribbie's max HP to adjacent targets. Her skill gains luminosity, lasting for 3 turns. This duration decreases by 1 at the start of this unit's every turn, while Tribbie has luminosity, increases all allies all type rest pen by 24%. Her ultimate activates a zone that deals quantum damage equal to 30% of Tribbie's max HP to all enemies. While the zone lasts, increases enemy target's damage taken by 30%. After an allied target attacks, for every 1 target hit, deals 1 instance of quantum additional damage equal to 12% of Tribbie's max HP to the target that has the highest HP among the hit targets. The zone lasts for 2 turns, the duration decreases by 1 at the start of this unit's every turn. The talent: after other allied characters use ultimate, Tribbie launches a follow-up attack dealing quantum damage equal to 18% of Tribbie's max HP to all enemies. This effect triggers 1 time per character. When Tribbie uses ultimate, resets the trigger count for other allied characters. If the target was defeated before the follow-up attack was launched, then launches the follow-up attack against new enemy targets entering the battlefield. Her technique: after using technique and upon entering battle, gains luminosity lasting for 3 turns. For her bonus traces, her A2, after using talent's follow-up attack, increases the damage dealt by Tribbie by 72%, that stacks up to 3 times and lasts for 3 turns. Her A4, while the zone lasts, Tribbie's max HP increases by an amount equal to 9% of the sum of all allied characters' max HP. And her A6, at the start of the battle, Tribbie regenerates 30 energy. After other allied characters attack, Tribbie regenerates 1.5 energy for each target hit. For her Eidolons, her E1, while the zone lasts and after allied targets attack enemies, additionally deals true damage equal to 24% of the total damage of this attack to targets that have been dealt additional damage by the zone. For E2, the additional damage dealt by the zone increases to 120% of the original damage. When the zone deals additional damage, further deals 1 instance of additional damage. Her E4, while luminosity lasts, the damage dealt by all allies ignores 18% of the target's defense. And her E6, after Tribbie uses ultimate, launches her talent's follow-up attack against all enemies. The damage dealt by the talent's follow-up attack increases by 729%. Now taking a look at some of the best Lightcone options for Tribbie, overall the best one you can use is going to be your own signature Lightcone, which provides the wearer a 36% increase to crit damage, and after the wearer launches a follow-up attack, additionally regenerates 12 energy and gains Presage, lasting for 2 turns. While the wearer has Presage, all allied targets' crit damage increases by 48%, and when entering battle, the wearer will regenerate 21 energy and gains Presage for 2 turns. This is a very powerful Lightcone as you do want to build Tribbie with crit, as she is also a sub-DPS while also being a Harmony support. And so the extra 36% increase to crit damage is going to be great for her own damage, especially when you are launching the follow-up attacks, but she will launch a lot in battle. So having more damage on that will do a lot of damage over time throughout the battle. On top of that, having Presage gives your allies a massive 48% increase to crit damage, which is super good. And this becomes a lot more valuable, especially if you are running other characters that give buffs based on crit damage, so Sunday, Sparkle, and Bronia. Not only will it be giving more crit damage to your DPS, it would also be giving crit damage to them to further amplify their crit damage buff, which is really good. And so you're getting a massive crit damage buff for your entire team. And another fantastic thing is this Lightcone does give you 21 energy immediately upon entering battle, along with the Presage buff, which also does mean you are allowed to use your ultimate right as you do enter battle, which is going to allow you to have these zone up immediately, and will also help you gain more energy for the times you would want to gain energy to have the ult up even more throughout the battle, because the goal with this Lightcone is practically just to always have your ult up. Same as not having the Lightcone, the entire thing is you want to have the ult up as long as possible, preferably practically forever. So this Lightcone makes it a lot easier for you to get your ult back, and also lets you ult right away at the start of battle, which is why her signature option is going to be her far and none best option. Unfortunately, past her signature option, she does not have too many options you can use. Because a issue that Harmony characters would have in this case, well, less of an issue, is there's a lot of supportive options you can use. For action forward characters, they can use something like Passive Future or Bonus Lightcone, but the thing is, while these Lightcones do provide good buffs, Tribbie wants a Lightcone that's going to mainly focus on helping her with energy, which is why she doesn't use the supportive Lightcones too well. The only other option you can use that is not going to be an energy-based Lightcone is going to be Dance Dance Dance, which after the wearer uses ultimate, all allies' actions are advanced forward by 16% at S1, and at S5 it is 24%. This Lightcone becomes stronger and stronger the more super impositions you do have, of course, but even at S1, S3 it's really good, as Tribbie is going to be a character where your ultimate is used a bunch in battle, so having you spam all is just practically going to be giving your team free action forwards as the battle does go on every time Tribbie ults, which is going to allow you to get even more turns, which is also further going to accelerate rotations. Just be sure to account for any speed tuning you may have on other characters, so if you have specific speed tunings with something like the Eagle set or just base speed in general, if you don't account this, it might mess up with their tuning, so I definitely would recommend taking this with caution. The only downside of this Lightcone is it doesn't provide you any energy source, so you will definitely need to take something like an energy rope or have characters that can ult frequently to allow Tribbie have more follow-up attacks in order to keep her ultimate up for as long as possible. But if you do have those situations down, Dance 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 is a very powerful option you can use. Now, as I mentioned, it would mainly be other Lightcones that do provide energy, and there's only really two options you could use, and one of them is going to be the Memories of the Past Lightcone, which does increase break effect by 28%, but we're just going to ignore that. It's mainly for when the wearer attacks, additionally regenerates 4 energy, and can't be repeatedly triggered within a single turn. S5, it does become a 56% increase to break effect, but again, we mainly ignore that. It's still a bit beneficial, but not too beneficial, but the energy does become 8, so the times you would proc the follow-up attack first time before you get another turn, you're going to be able to get even more energy, and anytime Tribbie does have an action where she will be using her basic attack, because when you have the skill up, obviously you're going to use your basic attack, which with this is now going to allow you to get even more energy when you do attack, which is going to definitely be beneficial. So this Lightcone helping you with that energy source is why it's a really good option you can use on her. And the last option is mainly just going to be Mesh and Cogs, which after the wearer uses attacks or gets hit, additionally regenerates 4 energy, and the effect cannot repeatedly be triggered within the same turn. And since the 3 star, it's a very accessible S5, which makes it 8 energy, which pretty much makes it the same as the Memories of the Past Lightcone, minus having worse base stats. Since the 3 star, the base stats are a lot worse, but it does have the additive bonus for it also allowing it to be when you are hit, because with Memories of the Past, it's only when you are attacking. With this one, it's also when you are hit, so the times where you build Tribbie really slow, which is very common, you may not get to attack too many times, but with this one, it allows you to actually get hit, so you can regenerate even more energy than you normally would, which is why Mesh and Cogs is another good option you can use. Taking a look at some of the best relic options for Tribbie, a really good option is actually going to be 4-piece of the Poet set, which the 2-piece increases quantum damage by 10%, and the 4-piece will decrease speed by 8%. And before entering the battle, if the wearer does have 110/95 lower speed, so lower than that actual value, the crit rate will be increased for the wearer by 20%/32%, and also applies to the wearer's member spread at the same time. Pretty much this is going to further just force you to actually build a slow Tribbie, which is going to be the most common build. Having her below 95 is her base speed's already very low, so having this is going to make it go below 95 and still can have you get some speed rolls. Maybe if you roll into it by accident, you just get unlucky, you still will be able to. As long as you are below 95, you're going to be able to gain up to 32% crit rate, which is going to allow you to allocate more HP and crit damage, which is going to be the best for Tribbie's damage. As I mentioned, Tribbie is also a sub-DPS, so actually focusing on the fact that she can do damage is very good. And the 2-piece is just going to increase all the damage she does, so her follow-up attack and ultimate and basic attack, as she is a quantum character dealing quantum damage. So the 2-piece is going to help you a lot with that, and again, the massive 32% increase to crit rate is going to help you allocate more into crit damage and HP percent. You still want to look out for crit rate rolls, obviously, but this is going to be the best for her personal damage. The only thing is you cannot build her with speed if you are doing this. Another option is going to be 4-piece of the max HP set, which the 2-piece gives you 12% max HP, and the 4-piece when the wearer is hit or has their HP consumed by an ally or themselves, get an 8% increase to crit rate and up to 2 stacks. 2-piece is going to be good as she does scale off HP, so the 12% max HP is going to be next there. And you can get up to a 16% increase to crit rate with the 4-piece on this. The only thing is Tribbie does not consume her own HP, so she is going to need to be hit in battle for the actual stacks to build up, which is very easy to do if you're running in a battle where the enemy hits you with an AoE. You can just easily position her in like the 3rd to 4th slot and have her get hit by an AoE pretty easily, as that slot is usually the better one you would for the character that you do want to hit. In those cases, if you are able to let her get hit, she's able to get the 60% crit rate, which again would help you allocate more stats. It's not as good as getting the 32% for having a lower speed on the Poet set, but this will allow you to allocate more speed rolls so you don't have to build low speed. So if you're in the case where you are building a Tribbie with speed, this set will actually allow you to do that, which is why the 4-piece of the max HP set is a good option. Past that, it does mainly become combining 2-pieces. So doing 2-piece of the max HP set is good for the max HP. Once again, you can combine that with 2-piece of one of the quantum set, so the genius set, or also just the poet set, as they both have the same 2-piece, or you can combine 2-piece of one of those and do 2-piece scholar, as it provides 8% crit rate for the 2-piece. Or if you're building a speedy Tribbie where you would want speed, you can do 2-piece hackerspace or 2-piece relieved ordeal, as they do both provide 6% speed. In cases you are building a Tribbie with speed, you can also opt to do that for a 2-piece. And I only want to mention the 4-piece of the genius set if you are using other characters that may provide defense ignore, such as pairing over something like Ruanmei E1. Since defense ignore, you really want to have a higher value of defense ignore to actually have it be noticeable, and this gives you up to a 20% defense ignore. You get a free 10%, and if they have quantum weakness, they get an extra 10%, so up to 20%. But this is not really something you want to go out of your way to do if your team does not have any source of giving everyone else defense ignore. Usually that's locked behind eidolons, so that's going to be a bit more pricey. But if you're in the case where you actually do have characters with eidolons that will give Tribbie more defense ignore, and you want Tribbie's damage to be even further, then you can use the 4-piece genius set. Becomes a lot more valuable at the times where you do have more defense ignore sources, making it another option you can do. But overall, definitely recommend it if you are mainly going to be doing a slow Tribbie, which most people will do, 4-piece of the poet set. If not that, you can do 4-piece of the max HP set, or combine 2-piece of one of those and 2-piece of also the genius set or poet. Again, quantum damage, max HP set for 12% max HP. If you're doing speed on Tribbie, then you can do 2-piece of hackerspace or relieve heal. And if you're on the whaler side and you do have more defense ignore sources, you can do 4-piece genius. And the last thing I want to talk about is mainly just tuning sides where you can do 4-piece of the eagle. 2-piece is useless as she does not deal actual wind damage, and the 4-piece does give you a advanced 4 by 25% when you do use your ultimate. This is going to help you attack more. The only issue is you definitely want to take note that you are not actively just using it and just getting more turns and expiring your buffs faster. You want to make sure you do end up having a tuning where your actual speed of actions ends up being to where it benefits you rather than griefs you, because there's times where people will have a bunch of speed and action forwards and will expire their buffs too quickly without getting any benefit from this. The benefit of this would be having you attack more to get more energy. More energy means more ult uptime, and having more ult uptime can help you refresh the duration and also the follow-up text you can get. So if you do tune correctly, Eagle can be a good set, but again, be careful. For the Planar ornaments, overall, I definitely recommend doing 2-piece of the new set, as focusing on damage is good, and this does provide you 12% max HP, and once you do have 5,000 HP or higher, which is very common on Tribbie, where and Memo Sprite's crit damage increases by 28%. So on top of getting more max HP, which once again she scales off of, you practically get a free 28% increase in crit damage, because Tribbie's always going to want to have more than that. You usually aim for around over 5k, around the 6k mark. Just hovering over the high 5,000s, maybe low 6,000s is very good. So in those cases, it becomes a free increase in crit damage, which more crit damage is going to be more damage, which is going to further increase the damage you can deal, which is why this new set is a good option. Another good damaging set is actually Inertial Soda, which provides 8% crit rate, and once you do have 50% or higher crit rate, damage done by the wearer's ultimate and follow-up attack increases by 15%. She does deal damage on her ultimate, and her follow-up is the main source of damage. The only thing you do want to know is this does not apply to any of the additional damage in the zone. This is just going to be for the actual hit of the follow-up attack and also actual hit of the ultimate, so this does further increase her damage, but it won't be as noticeable, but it's still a good option you can use for a more DPS side of Tribbie. Past those two, it would be if you want a more supportive Tribbie, and you do have quite a few options for that. I'm going to speed through this just because, you know, the supportive sets are mainly just known altogether now, so you guys are going to know which ones I'm going to mention. So obviously, first one being Lushaka, giving 5% energy regeneration rate. Not being positioned on the first team lineup will give the character that is positioned on the first team lineup 12% attack. This is good for any attack scaling character if you're running her for more of a support. This also helps with energy regeneration rate, so it's easier to get your ultimate back. Another option is Broken Keel, giving you 10% effect res, and once you have 30% or higher effect res, you give everyone crit damage. More crit damage, more damage it's going to do. It also does apply to Tribbie, so she can also deal some more damage, which is going to be good. Another option is obviously going to be Aegis as well, which provides 12% max HP, which is going to be good for herself. And if you do have 120 speed or higher, you give everyone 8% attack. Any teams that do benefit from the attack percent is going to be where you can run this on, and you could also just use it for the 2-piece of not actually having the 120 speed or higher, so you don't get this, but you just get the max HP. But at that point, I definitely recommend just farming for the new set, but it is an option while you maybe be farming for another one. If you are taking her in a quantum-based team, you can also run Panaconi set, which also gives you 5% energy regeneration rate, and increases damage by 10% for all other types of the same type as the wearer. So it would only apply to other quantum characters, so if you're running a quantum main DPS, or you mainly want to buff a quantum character, such as if you're running her with Zele, or maybe you have Jade on the team and you want to buff her a bit, or if you're preparing for the new character Castris, you can also actually have this. Only in quantum teams will it be the usable option. And another option is actually going to be pretty good, and I'm going to talk a bit more about this, being the Von Walk set. which also provides 5% energy regeneration rate, and once you do have 120 speed or higher for the wearer gets an advance forward by 40% immediately upon entering battle. This will allow you to attack and also set up your ultimate, especially if you don't have something like the signature Lightcone where you can't just instantly start with the ultimate. This will allow you to attack or maybe even skill to get the ultimate and allow you to set up the ultimate right away. And so you can have a build where Tribbie is at 120 speed and just have her outspeed your team for the most part. This will vary from player to player just because someone might have more speed or they already have an existing Von Walk setup. So depending if you're doing 121, 122, 123, it very much depends. The goal was just to be outspeed your team, have Tribbie go first, have the attack, and pop the ultimate, and now the zone will be active and Tribbie will return to a lower speed. The only downside of having a 120 speed base build is you will not be able to run the Poet set, which is going to be one of Tribbie's overall best sets you can run. But if that's not an issue, then you can opt to do a Von Walk setup. For the main stats on the relics, for the body, you want to run either crit rate or crit damage corresponding to which one you would need more. For the feet, ideally HP percent is usually the way to go, but if you are doing a 120 setup and you want the speed boots, you can definitely do that. Or if you're building a faster Tribbie, then speed boots can be an option you can do. But ideally, usually a slower Tribbie is going to be the most common build, so HP percent is going to be the way to go for that. For the orb, you want HP percent. And for the link rope, this does depend. If you have a light cone that gives energy and you have a energy related planar ornament and setups to help you with energy, you can opt to use HP percent. And if you especially have a signature light cone, then you can easily opt to run the HP percent as you practically don't have a need for the energy regen rope. But in any other case where maybe you don't have a light cone that gives energy, or maybe you do but you don't have anything else, or if you're just running something like an S5 DDD or just any DDD in general, then you would want to run energy regeneration rate to ensure you do get your ultimate in time. For the substats, first, if you are building a speedy Tribbie, you definitely want to make sure you get to the speed threshold you do want. If you're doing a 120 speed with Von Walk setup, you can just get her to focus on getting 120 speed first. And if you're doing anything past that, getting her up to breakpoint or whatever you want to do, that is going to be your first important priority. If you're doing a base speed Tribbie, then you can completely ignore that step. Past that is going to be more crit rate, crit damage, and HP percent. So once again, first focus on speed if you are doing any form of speed tuning on your Tribbie, whether that be 120 to get the Von Walk buff or a specific Von Walk setup, where you might need like 125 to fully outspeed your team or something. Or if you just want like a breakpoint so you can actually play like a normal character to get enough energy in order to fit the needs that you would need, then that would be your first priority. And then past that, or if you are just doing a base speed Tribbie, again, ignore that step if you're doing a base speed Tribbie, you just focus on getting more crit rate, crit damage, and 80%. A good amount of crit rate to focus on getting in battle is around 80%. Anything 80% or higher is going to be great. For crit damage, getting around 180% or maybe even 200% if you do have the signature is also going to be very, very nice. When it comes to HP, if you are using the new Planar Ornament, ensure you do have 5,000 or higher. But generally, a good HP amount to aim for is around the 6,000 mark. So if you're able to hit that, that's going to be great. Now for the team idea / team options section of this video. As Tribbie is a Harmony character, you do have a lot of options, especially with how flexible she is. She is a fantastic slot-in on a lot of teams because of the buffs that she does provide, practically being useful for anyone, as it's not something that crit related where someone like a Dot or Break can't use it. The only area you practically don't want to use her on is going to be Break, where she still can function on, but it's definitely not going to be the best. But some great options is like someone like Aglia. Aglia is going to be great with Tribbie, so you'd run Tribbie, you would run Aglia, and then you would also run Sunday, as Sunday is one of Aglia's best partner, if not Aglia's best partner. And then your last slot would be the sustain, so Full would be best in this, but use whatever you do have in that slot for your best sustain. Or if you're doing sustainless Aglia, which is actually very powerful, you can also just throw on someone like Robin for a great buff as well. That's an option you can't do, but that's more specific. Again, Tribbie is just a really good slot in, so you just have a bunch of options you can do. On E2 Acheron team, she's also very good, so you can run Tribbie, you can run Acheron at E2. The dude only need one nihility, so you take your nihility where Jiaoqiu is best. And then your last slot would be the sustain. In this case, I'd be just putting Aventurine, but once again, just take whatever you have. So she's a great Harmony for this as well. She is fantastic on the Herta team as well. So if you do have the Herta, so I'm just gonna go ahead and say, pretend that the regular Herta is that Herta. So have that, so pretend that's the Herta. You'd have Tribbie, the Herta, and then you'd run your other Air Edition characters. So in this case, I'm just gonna go ahead and throw on Jade. So I'll put Jade here as the other Air Edition character. And then your last slot would be a sustain that, again, whatever you have that is best for that team. This would be the Herta team. Once again, pretend this is the Herta. Or you could also pretend Jade is the Herta, as Herta and the Herta work well together. Tribbie is also fantastic with someone like Yunli as well. So you could take Tribbie, Yunli, and then take someone like Robin or Sunday. So either or, just really depends on what is free in your slots there. And then your last slot would be your sustain if you are doing a sustaining run, as there's a lot of sustain the setups you can do with Tribbie. As I mentioned, she is a fantastic slot in. But you have a lot of options with Tribbie, as her buffs are just really good to slot in. You can do sustainless runs, even with the sustain where she's the main Harmony support. Whether she's working with another Harmony support such as Sunday or Robin, there's a lot of options you can do. That is the full Tribbie guide. Once again, if you guys found the video helpful, drop a good like would be greatly appreciated. If you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe and turn on the bell icon for future videos like this, along with all other types of Star content. That's all I wanted to say. Peace out.